Hello guys, you're welcome to this great video of today. um we're going to be making a short video on how you can launch a database and connect your database to your web page. Basically, the web page that I'm talking here will be your EC2 instance. And mm, yes, that's basically it, how you can be able to communicate, how you can be able to connect these two apps together. You know very well from that, from the very first time when you want to um, when you go to Facebook and you are creating your Facebook account for the very first time, Facebook always requires, especially the Facebook app, always require your username, probably your name, your last, your last name, your mobile information, your password, and for you to sign up and all of that, your date of birth, if you're a male or a female, and so on. When you enter this information in your web, in their web page, which is the Facebook page that you see in front of you, that information is stored in the back end. The back end is the database. That back end is private and you cannot see it, because a lot of sensitive information about individuals are stored in the database. There are people who trade on Facebook and they will have their bank account information and all of that saved in the database. So whenever you're creating your database, it has to be created in the private subnet, someone that is only the company that can manage all of that. you know I'm not talking about Facebook here. So we are going to be seeing how we can create this web page. First, I'm not going to go right to the end of creating a what am I trying to say, a page like this, but I'm trying to show you how there is a connection between this page and the database. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on. All right guys, if you're watching this for the very first time, please do like and subscribe, do share my videos. That's the only way you can help me, to let this grow. All right, let's dive into the main thing. All right, here we are going to go to EC2 instance, and we will we will launch an EC2 instance. So simply we go to EC2 instance, and on this one I'm going to call it my just say my web page, as such, my web page. And if I consider my web page, I'm just generally gonna leave everything the way it is, and I have already a key pair and I will use it. If you are watching this for the first time, you can go back to my other videos and you see how you can create key pairs and other things. So you can equally learn how to create a VPC. I already have one that I'm using, and I'm always using awesome VPC. And this is my web page. Is going to be on the public subnet. All right, so I'm going to be working on the public subnet US East 1, and auto assign IP. I already enabled this at the level of, you enable this at the level of the VPC, so that has been done. And firewalls, here I would choose an existing security group. You could equally go back to my other videos and you see how you can be able to create a security group. But generally, the security group, the main thing that you want to have on your security group here is to allow SSH or SSM, so much that you can get that connectivity. You yourself can be able to launch into the EC2 itself, with SSM or with SSH. You can be able to launch it or communicate with the EC2 before you try to get the EC2 communicate with another application. So let's move down to advanced here, and I will want to communicate with my instance using SSH. So I have it already, session manager here enabled. This one you have to create an IAM profile or policy to be able to get this. All right, that is already done. I don't need to use any user data, and I'll go ahead and launch this EC2 instance. Simple. Now, while this EC2 instance is trying to come up, let's go to our database and see if we can launch a database that we're going to create here. This is the dashboard. If you are doing this for the very first time, it's very easy. One good thing about it, the database here, it looks just exactly like the EC2 instance. The various steps are very similar, the steps. If you follow the steps in EC2, if you can launch your EC2, you come to database, you can almost do the same. And here I'm going to be using MySQL. That's the engine that we'll be using today, MySQL. And I will leave everything the way it is, the engine version, and I'm going for a template which is a free version. So I'm taking this template. So you go further. You can always rename the data the database instance identifier, the name. So I can call it my database instance, just like that. My database, did I say my? Okay, say my database instance. It's case sensitive, so you must be careful how you put it. So your credentials that will help you log into the database here. What we have here, generally with databases, always recognize admin. You can always change it, but I'm going to leave it the way it is. We could equally to make this very secure, we could use credential management by either managing our AWS secret key through the secret manager, or we do it by ourselves. For this one particular one, I'm going to self manage the password. All right, I'm going to self manage the password. The next one, I'm going to show you how you can use a secret manager. With secret manager, you know very well that you're going to be using KMS, key management service, to be able to do that. So here I'm just going to create a simple password that I can be able to use and log into it. Let me confirm the password. So let's see. All right, I'll go for the instance configurations. I'm using DB type 3. I would have loved to use type 2, but they don't give it to me. Type 2 is free. This one is not free. You might have to pay a couple of dollars for the very first time. So we go down to connectivities. They're asking me if I want to connect. Yes, I already have an EC2 instance. Let's check whether it's running though. Let's see if it's running already. It should. It's initializing. All right, okay, it's running. So let's go back here, and I already have one, so I can easily connect to it. So you see my web page. So I'm connecting to it, and we go further to, we can choose an existing here subnet. Generally, like I said earlier, you should choose a private subnet. If you come here for the very first time and you have not selected the subnet, you have to do it. You have to make sure that the subnet that you're choosing is private, because if you are not careful, maybe you might need to come here, open the subnet, go check it whether it's private, or apart from which you could do automatic setup. This automatic setup here sets up your subnet as private or local, which means that it will just be local. It's not going to be granting it internet gateway. So I'm choosing this one because I know that it is private. Okay, because I already work on it. So I'm going to choose the existing ones. So I'll go further here to choose the security group. I equally have a security group, and I'm going to be using it. So I'll be using which security group am I going to use? I'm going to use RDS security group. Now with the security group here, basically what you are trying to get here is how will the EC2 connect itself to the database. For EC2 to connect itself to the database, it will need a port number, and the port is port 3306. So you are opening this port 3306 and saying that, oh, if you have to communicate with me, so you must have to pass through this port number before you can get to me. So the port number is 3306. So that's what I'm simply doing here. And I can go further to other configurations. I will leave it the way they are. And additional configuration here, this is very important. This additional configuration here, I have to set it in case I want to like go further to create like WordPress or my web page, and I want to log into my web page. I will need to, come up with some credentials here. So I can call this word, oh, let me see, I call this WordPress page. All right, like that. And I leave everything the way it is here. I'm not gonna be let me see, calm down, non-preference inscription I'm not enabling, but it's important to inscript here because you're inscripting data at rest. Enable auto versioning, it doesn't matter. And let me see, I don't want to enable backup. All right, you could enable backup, but I don't want to do that. Just, but you have to do it if you are already. I'm just doing this because we are in our, we're just testing. Our password doesn't match. Let's see, let me see what I put here. Let me try it again and see if it will match. Does it match now? Let's see if it's gonna work. Oh, it's not matching. Okay, let's create a different one. Let's create a different one. Let's create a different password. All right, hopefully it matches with the one I have now. Let's see, create it. Okay, I think it's good. It's not working. I'm not saving it. All right, good. So it's gonna take a couple of minutes to actually come up. All right, so all right, let's just give it a couple of minutes. I will come back there. Let's go to EC2 and try to log into the EC2 here. Like I said earlier, I'll be using SSM session. Let me see. So I'll be using session manager to log into my EC2. So if I come here, I can simply connect to EC2 from here. So right here, I'm already, this terminal here already is my it's my EC2. I'm already into my EC2. If you had to use other connection app, you will have to sudo or use other things use to get into it. I'm not going to that. So let's see here. Let me see again, refresh. I want to be sure that it is connecting. It's launching. It's gonna give it a couple of minutes until it's up. So right here, what I can simply do here is, let's try to first of all, now one thing that you have to know is, if you have to communicate between if you have to communicate from your web page to the database, then they have to be an understanding between the two of them. This understanding is they should speak the same language. If they don't speak the same language, then you cannot be able to communicate between them. So for that reason, we will have to do some update and some installation. Let me just say yum update, yum update, and see if my EC2 is updated. This command has to be run with super privilege. Okay, what do you want me to do? So you want me to say sudo, or let me see, up. Let me see, I don't want to go straight to all of that. All right, okay, so okay, it shows that everything is updated, so I don't need to do any of that. So for that reason, I have to see if I can install a language here that can help communicate with my database. And the language that I'll be using here will be um, uh, MariaDB. Okay, that's the language that I'll be using. So I'm simply going to go ahead and install it so much that I'll say sudo dnf sudo dnf install MariaDB. Which one? MariaDB 1.5. I think this one. Yes, why will be the one to work. Okay, good. So this has to be installed. Once it is installed, it's completed. Let me just clear this off. All right, good. Install. So let's go back again to our successful. Good. This one shows successful. You see it's active, which means that this is running. So we can now, we already have MariaDB, which is the language that our database will be able to understand. So we try to do the communication between the two of them. So here I will say, since I've already installed MySQL in my database, I will say MySQL hold on, MySQL the host. Generally you're trying to connect to it by using the host name that you have here. If you come here, the host name is the endpoint and the port. So if you copy this endpoint here, you'll be able to say what is your host name here. That's what it's simply asking you, and we're going to paste that. That's our host name, and we're using my DB instance this US is one Amazon, so on and so forth. So what is the username? So you're asking for the username, and our username, like I said, is admin. And then it will be asking that what is the password. You have to enter somewhere that if I'm typing the password, nobody should see. Okay, see my password. Hopefully I don't make a mistake. Like, okay, you see that it says welcome to MariaDB monitor. Command ends with this. Your MySQL connection ID is 23, and so on. So you look right down here, we are already connected to our database. So the simple thing I can just ask you here, I can just say show databases. All right, let's see. And right here, this is our database. Okay, information here, and the name of our database, WordPress page. All right, this is thanks to my teachers, guys. It's their knowledge that I'm actually using here to demonstrate this to you. So shout out to you guys for the great work you're doing, and thank you very much for spending your time to watch this. My next video will be trying to see how we can install an EFS, so much that it can help us install WordPress. All right, so just be looking out for a video that will be coming up probably in a day or two from now, so much that you can see how we can get that installed and so on. All right, do like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So man, today I want to give a shout out to my school where I'm getting all the knowledge that I'm sharing with you guys here. I want to give a shout out to my teachers, Sanasis, Saidiris, Mr. Joseph, Madam Otes, my course mates,